Hello, Aaron Kubitz, personal trainer at Functional Aesthetics CC. We're helping average guys perform better in their lives inside and outside the gym. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about the outside the gym part, particularly because there's something that I've been studying. In the past, I've noticed that I have an excellent long-term memory, but my short-term memory tends to be pretty poor, which often makes it difficult for me in a classroom setting to retain the information that I'm hearing because of that conversion of short-term to long-term memory. There seems to be a kind of a gap there. Well, recently I was doing some study. I was taking a biochemistry class, and I was learning about some of the benefits of choline, and the guy teaching the class was talking about how maybe only 10% of the population, in the US at least, is getting enough choline, and that there can be problems with this because it is involved in conversion of short-term to long-term memory, as well as a lot of other factors involved in mental health, which I'm going to get into this video. So that's why I decided to make this video, because I figured, well, if I'm had some issues with this, maybe there's some other guys that might be able to benefit from this as well. So I'm going to go into some of the benefits of choline, and then, sources of where you can get it, and then also, from both the food and the supplement side of that. So without further ado, we'll get into that particular part of the video. Okay, so the first benefits of choline are actually not even related to mental health, but rather cardiovascular health. So there is some concerns with, if you eat too much muscle meat, that maybe you can be causing, that it's not actually the saturated fats and the cholesterol, as was previously believed, that it causes the increased risk for cardiovascular disease, but rather high levels of methionine, which it can actually convert to homocysteine, but that can actually be converted back. So the body actually converts homocysteine back to methionine, which is an essential amino acid that you cannot get from your diet and must be synthesized, or cannot be synthesized in the body, so you must actually get it from your diet. So what choline can do in conjunction with folate is that if you have inordinately high levels of homocysteine predisposing you for risk for cardiovascular disease and stroke, that it can actually help to convert that homocysteine back to methionine, making it a more benign substance and actually more beneficial for the body rather than harmful for the body. Okay, the next area would be in the areas of mood, memory, long-term, short-term memory and stuff. So choline has been shown to actually help out in these areas as well. Another thing that's interesting is, as well, is that it's also been used in the treatment of mental disorders as well. So people who have a lot of anxiety, sometimes when they supplement with choline, they can help with that choline, help with the anxiety that they're feeling. Now, on the other hand, depression is not something that choline has been shown to actually help a lot with. It's more the anxiety end of things. It can also help with people with bipolar disorder. So some people who have had bipolar disorder, it has sometimes been used to help with that. Now, this is more likely that if, as with many things, if you are deficient in a certain substance, oftentimes you can end up getting a problem because of that deficiency in that substance, right? But if you are not deficient in that substance, then it's not going to necessarily provide a benefit, right? So maybe if you're having the bipolar issues or whatever because of some deficiencies in your diet, then if you, correct those deficiencies, then you can, help with that. Another disease or mental disorder that it shows some potential to help with is actually Alzheimer's disease. Now, the results are inconclusive because some studies have shown that some patients that were suffering from a memory decline between 50 and 85 years old, they supplemented with 1,000 milligrams of choline per day, and it showed some beneficial effects on improving their memory in the short term. But then there's also been some other studies that show negligible benefit. And this was on studies both with people with Alzheimer's and not with Alzheimer's. So the jury's still out on that one. Now, we will go on after we've kind of touched on some of the main benefits of taking more choline in your diet. We'll touch on the dietary sources of choline, and then also the supplementary sources of where you can get your choline. Because sometimes, maybe you don't like eating the particular foods that are high in choline, or it's just not convenient to do so. And sometimes you're on the road, you're traveling, or it's just easier to take a supplemental form. So we're going to cover both of those. Now, I would recommend, as I do recommend with both things, that to try to get, the dietary form as well as the supplemental form, and as the name is called, supplement, right? So a supplement to an already healthy diet. Because when you get the vitamins and minerals in their naturally occurring state, they often have other compounds in there in the correct ratios with those compounds to help facilitate the absorption of that, right? So for example, people who have, just one example of this would be people who have, are supplementing with calcium because they don't want to get osteoporosis, right? Well, if they're not getting enough vitamin D, then it's not really going to make a difference how much calcium they're getting. And in fact, they could lead to things like bone spurs and kidney stones and things of that nature from excess calcium buildup, because the body cannot utilize the calcium, so it's just building up in the body rather than being used for its intended purposes. And calcium is very important, whether it's from your bones or the contraction of your muscles, including your heart. So making sure that you're getting ideal ratios of different micronutrients is important as well. So that's why I recommend getting both the dietary form and the supplemental form, because usually when you're getting a dietary form, it's also inherently already has the other nutrients that are going to help synergize or work in concert with that particular micronutrient to accelerate its uptake and enhance it. Okay, so most choline is derived from phosphatidylcholine, which comes in a form of dietary fat called lecithin, and most of that is in animal products, but you can also get it in plant products as well, although it's not as bioavailable, and there's also not the concentration that there is in animal products. So I'm going to talk about the animal products first, and then we'll talk about the plant sources that you can get it from as well. So number one is liver, both chicken and beef liver, although beef liver tends to be a little bit higher. So getting about a 3-ounce serving of beef liver will give you about 250 to 290 milligrams of choline, right? So it's interesting because of liver, back when I was in college, I did a speech, kind of in tongue-in-cheek, but I had to do a speech on something, so I decided one day I was cooking liver, and I decided that I was going to do a speech about liver. So I entitled my speech The Incredible Edible Liver, and as I got researching more into liver, I realized how beneficial that actually was for you, and so I actually became pretty excited about doing my speech. And so the more I think about it, liver is kind of actually like nature's multivitamin. Obviously, it has a lot of vitamin A in it, but it also has zinc, numerous B vitamins, including B12, B6. It has choline and also copper. So a lot of beneficial nutrients that that are often deficient in many people's diets. So if you're not eating liver, maybe you should consider eating more liver, or maybe taking a liver supplement. So moving on from that, other forms, or if you don't like liver, you can also get it in fish, particularly cod. So cod is actually very high in choline. Salmon has a little bit of choline, but not as much as cod. And then the next highest source after cod would be eggs. And I think most people are okay with eating eggs. They're very cheap, inexpensive, and you can get about a quarter of your daily allowance of choline from a single egg. So if you have a few eggs in the morning, or whenever you want to have your eggs, you're not only getting the beneficial protein that's going to help maintain your muscles and help you recover faster from exercise and things like that, also help be more satiating and for helping you maintain a more leaner physique as well, then you might want to check out, try and get eggs and stuff like that for your choline. All right, so moving on from the animal sources of choline, we'd have things like cauliflower. So cauliflower is actually fairly decently high in choline, but as opposed to the 290 milligrams that you get from 3 ounces of beef liver. Half a cup of cauliflower is going to give you about 24 milligrams of choline. And again, it's not as bioavailable or absorbable as the animal source, so you'd have to eat more of it. Now, I'm of the opinion that you should eat a wide variety of things, as long as it's not a edible food-like substance and it's actually real food. Eat a variety of things. Eat your meat, eat your vegetables, eat some grains in moderation and stuff. Also considering, what is the function of these different nutrients, right? So proteins are used for growth and repair and hormone synthesis, and whereas carbohydrates and fats are primarily used as fuel and also beneficial for hormone synthesis as well. And so you want to make sure that you're having a balance of all of these and considering what are my energy requirements. So if your energy requirements aren't really high on a particular day or a particular point in your life, you have a desk job or something, maybe you can get away with a lower carbohydrate diet. If you have a job where you're doing construction work or you're doing a lot of sprint work or you're an athlete doing CrossFit workouts, or bodybuilding workouts, you might require, a more moderate or even to high carbohydrate content at certain points. So taking that into consideration as well. The next dietary or plant source of choline is actually beans. So beans are a relatively good source of choline, about the same quantity of choline per unit of mass as cauliflower. And then also the last one, which is probably the highest form of the plant derived source of choline, would be soybean oil. Now, in recent years, things like seed oils and stuff have taken a bad rap, and it's questionable whether or not you should want to be including things like soybean oil in your diet, just simply because of the inflammation that they can cause. And it's been speculated that seed oils might become the new cholesterol or saturated fat of our generation, whereas, when I was growing up, cholesterol, saturated fat was demonized as being, the culprit for all your health problems, causing heart disease and stroke and things like that. So soybean oil comes in a little bit higher at about 47 to 50 milligrams per tablespoon of soybean oil. Okay, so when it comes to supplemental forms of choline, there's a couple different options. So you have soy lecithin, which, would make sense if you're deriving choline from soybean oil. Then if you concentrate that and get it from soybeans, that would make sense. You also have phosphatidylcholine powder, but of these two choices, only about 10 to 20% by weight is actually choline. So the best forms of supplemental choline to take would be GDP choline or GBC choline and CDP choline. Both of these are more highly absorbable, bioavailable, and higher concentrations of choline than either of the previous or aforementioned supplements. The other one, so as far as how much you should be taking, you want to be taking for a woman about 425 milligrams of choline a day. Now, there is no RDA for choline, but an adequate intake is considered to be about 425 milligrams of choline per day for a woman and 550 milligrams of choline per day for a man. Now, if you have special instances like the ones that I mentioned before, whether you have Alzheimer's disease, bipolar disorder, or if you're extremely deficient in something like this, then you might want to, for the short term, increase that level. So, for example, with Alzheimer's, there was the study where they supplemented with about 1,000 milligrams of choline per day, and they saw some beneficial improvements in the memory of the people suffering from Alzheimer's disease. Okay, so that is about all that I have for this particular video. There was one other point that I wanted to make that I forgot to make earlier on in the section on the benefits of choline, and that was in preventing certain diseases. So it's been shown to be beneficial in helping with cancer, neural tube defects, and most importantly, probably the most significant one, is in promoting liver and kidney health. So particularly with people who have a very deficient diet. So yes, you can produce choline on your own. Your body body produces its own choline, but it's speculated that the amount that the body produces is actually inadequate for optimal health, and so you should actually be getting it in your diet or in a supplemental form. So guys, that's all I have for today as far as choline goes. Hopefully you found this information useful, beneficial, and maybe you can apply it to your own life. Maybe it's something you didn't think about before. If you are somebody who's struggled to learn things in school, if you would like to improve your performance on the job, or if you're just trying to learn a new language, learn some new skill or something like that, and you want to help improve that and enhance that, because again, it's at Functional Aesthetics, we're about improving your health both inside and outside the gym, and enhancing your effectiveness inside and outside the gym, making you better all around, not just in the gym, but outside the gym. And obviously, as a fitness professional, I am a very strong believer that you can not be fully healthy without being fit. Now, you can be fit and not be healthy, but I don't believe that you can be completely healthy without being a fit person. So, if you like the video, make sure you hit that like button. If you'd like to see more content related to workout design, obviously, rehabbing or preventing injuries before they happen, common injuries that happen in the gym, as well, or other videos related to nutrition, whether it's for muscle building, fat loss, or in this instance, like this video, just overall health, then consider subscribing to the channel by hitting the button in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, and we will see you all next time for more health and fitness related information. Thanks guys for watching.